Hello, welcome to the Run Testers. My name's Nick, and in this video we're going to be giving you our guide to kind of the best cheap running jackets out there. If you've seen our main running jackets video, we all kind of picked out two of our top picks, and a lot of them did end up being quite expensive. I was more guilty of that than anyone, with a couple of kind of £250 plus jackets. So we did want to kind of do a roundup of more affordable options that we've tested, kind of doing them as mini reviews, what's good, what's bad about them, you know, which really are good value and which could be ones to avoid. The price we set for this was basically that the jackets have to cost under £100, or basically always be reduced to that price. There are some jackets that have a kind of a notional RRP that is a bit above £100, but they're always cheaper than that, so we've felt comfortable including those as well. So we've all tested quite a few cheap jackets throughout the year, and we're kind of going to give you our thoughts on as many of them as we can in this. We're looking at price, you know, sub 100 is the kind of price we're aiming at, but actually some of the jackets go right down to kind of £15. And we're going to talk about waterproof and water resistant jackets. And with the waterproof ones, we're kind of really going to focus in on, you know, whether they are breathable at all, because often with the slightly cheaper waterproof jackets, they just get very sweaty and you kind of end up as damp as if you just, you know, gone out in the rain without any jacket at all. We're also going to talk about pockets, the kind of storage options you get on the jackets, and whether they're kind of packable and how you can carry them once they're packed. Right, onto the jacket. Okay, first up we have the Kalenji Run Wind, which is from Decathlon, and it's very cheap. It's £15 in the UK or $20 in the US. It's a very lightweight, kind of breathable, windproof shell. It's not at all waterproof. There is kind of open sections on the fabric just to try and keep it as breathable as possible whilst kind of giving you another extra layer. It is a really quite thin material. It's not a jacket at all that I'd want to head out in, you know, in really cold weather, but as a kind of extra layer, just to kind of give you peace of mind when it's kind of in between those kind of early spring mornings or kind of autumn nights. It does quite a good job. It does trap in a nice layer of heat. You know, I've tended to be able to run in it quite comfortably with just a t-shirt underneath, you know, when it is a bit mild and I'm heading out for easy runs. It has one pocket on the side, which is kind of okay for light stuff, but it will bounce around anything you put in that pocket, so I wouldn't really use it for even a phone or anything like that. It's more just maybe a pair of gloves or a hat, something like that. And it's kind of not really listed as packable, but you can pack everything, you can pack the jacket into that pocket, but you end up with the kind of zip turned the wrong way round, which can be a real pain to undo when you're trying to kind of prise it open from the outside. So I guess it is kind of packable, but be prepared to fiddle with that zip for a little while.
So my first pick for affordable jacket is the New Balance Impact Run Light Jacket. Now this is a jacket that I've worn in various guises over the past 2 to 3 years, and it's absolutely my favourite jacket I've ever tried. The reason I like it so much is that it's incredibly lightweight. I'm not the sort of runner that really needs a jacket when they go out running. It's got to be pretty bad conditions for me to want to wear a jacket. I'm talking hailstones and -0 temperatures, but other than that I don't tend to wear a jacket. The reason I like this jacket is that it's really lightweight, and it's really just designed to take the edge off the cold. So I tend to wear it quite a lot when it's a bit chilly outside. I want the first couple of kilometres to go okay when I really don't want to go outside. And it just works perfectly for that. It just takes the edge off those colder morning runs. But the beauty of it is that it packs into its own pocket and it's got a waist strap on it. So after I've done those first couple of kilometres, I can strap it around my waist. It's really light when it's packed into that and quite small. So you don't notice it when it's sat above your waist. And then if you get to the point where you're stopping running, you're going to the shops or something, you just put it back on. Really easy. It's incredibly comfortable. It's barely noticeable when you're wearing it. And it's got a hood as well, which means that it offers that perfect bit of protection when you need it. But really, it's just enough to take the edge off the cold if you're the type of runner like me that doesn't really need a jacket. Normally it costs around £75, but to be honest, this jacket has been around for a long time, and New Balance seem to release a new version of it every year or every few months. So the older versions drop down in price quite a bit. This version, this blue colourway, it's originally priced at £75, but now it's dropped to about £37.50, which is an absolute steal for this jacket because I love it. I've got 3 of these. I'm probably going to end up buying some more just because I like them so much. But it's a fantastic jacket if you're just looking for something lightweight that really does the job.
The first one I've picked out for me that I've been using that I've quite liked is this. So this is the Columbia FKT II Windbreaker. So this is a jacket that's kind of designed for trail running. It's an all nylon jacket. It's £90 generally. You can kind of find it for for cheaper than that, but generally it retails at £90. What I like about it, first and foremost, it is very thin material. So as I said, I don't like a lot of layers, so this is kind of a nice layer to add over a t-shirt or maybe a base layer, and it won't feel too heavy to wear. Some nice little things I quite like. You get quite you've got these kind of hems at the sleeves that kind of, you know, hugs quite nicely against your kind of wrists, so you kind of, you know, you're not letting that kind of wind in, and then you've got something similar in terms of the back as well, and then you've got a couple of pockets. Generally, you know, I don't like to kind of run with things in my pockets, but you do have that option there, and in one of them you've got kind of a zip, small zip pocket as well if you want to kind of carry some stuff in there too. The thing for me is it was pretty good, you know, kind of in windy, kind of light windy conditions or kind of some stronger stuff. When it was raining, or I went through some kind of heavy rainstorm in this jacket, and I did get kind of drenched in it. I mean, it does have this kind of repellent to kind of take that rain off, but I definitely think it's kind of for lighter rain generally. So I think this is a good option if you're looking for something that's kind of offers kind of nice wind protection. It's nice and thin. You've got some pockets there as well, and also it's packable as well. You've got a kind of section here up at the top where you can kind of pack it away as well if you want to carry it as well too.
This is the Inov-8 Windshell 2.0. It's an ultralight shell that comes in at £90 in the UK. It's $110 in the US. Now, I've worn Inov-8 shells when I've run all over the world. I actually took one into the desert to run the Marathon des Sables, and I'm a big fan. They perform really well, and this latest edition is a great new addition to the lineup. Now, it's ultralight, it weighs just 90 grams, it's packable and folds down into its own pocket with an elasticated loop to help secure it. You've also got a fitted hood that you can roll down and secure with a popper to keep it out of the way, and thumb loops. The cuffs are very fitted, although they're a little bit tight, but that's good for keeping the wind from blowing up your arms, but not so good if you fancy rolling up your sleeves. I'm a big fan of the chest pocket here. This one is big enough to take one of the larger smartphones, though I wouldn't really run with it due to you get a little bit of bounce. It's also got a little bit of reflective detailing, and I'm a big fan of the colour as well. It's also made from recycled materials. So now for me, this is the ideal layer when you need to either pack light, or you're going to be going running on a day where there's a chance of rain, it's cloudy, a bit of wind. You want a little bit of light protection, but you don't want anything that's too heavy or too thick. It's not going to keep you dry in a massive kind of rainstorm. That's not what this is for, but it is lightweight. You can take it on and off and pack it down in a belt. The other thing I will say, the full length zip is a win. Sometimes shells have a half zip, makes it easier to put on and take off. And also, if you can see here, I'm wearing quite a thick jumper underneath, so you can use it to kind of scale up and down in terms of base layers underneath. It's fairly sort of tight kind of fitting, but not too bad at all. It means that you can wear other stuff if you want to add extra warmth underneath that as well.
Next up, we have the Brooks Canopy jacket. Now, this is one that kind of comes in and out of stock sometimes on the kind of Brooks range. It comes and goes with the season, but it's nearly always available kind of each cold season, and it's £80 in the UK or $120 in the US. You are getting stiffed a little bit on that conversion in the US, I think. But it's another really lightweight jacket that's more of a windproof layer. You know, it doesn't really have any protection from water, even though you get a nice hood. The material is quite soft. It does kind of soak in water a little bit, but it is a really nice, comfortable jacket to wear. What I like about this is that it's really portable. It packs away into a kind of a pouch that kind of sits in the kind of upper back of the jacket, and then when you're in that pouch, it's got two long straps so you can wear it like a little backpack. Now, you won't look good wearing this jacket as a backpack and running, and it will bounce around a bit, but that is pretty portable, and it's nice to have an extra layer with you when it is so kind of lightweight like this. Like I say, it's generally, again, for those kind of in-between days, it's not going to do you very well in the depths of winter, but as a kind of extra layer to carry with you just in case when you're not sure if it's really cold enough for a jacket or not, it does the job quite well. It's got two side pockets with zips that, again, are positioned in a quite useless way, so you can't put anything heavy in them, it'll bounce around, but it does have the little kind of chest pocket, the Napoleon pocket, which you can put a phone in. It's not the tightest kind of hold, so it will still bounce a little bit, like compared to some of the other jackets I use, but yeah, you can put a phone in there or a heavier item in there and carry it with you while wearing the jacket, which is always useful.
I'm going to have to apologise here because my next two jackets that I've chosen, I haven't actually got here. I moved house recently and I can't for the life of me find out where they are. But trust me, in that these are two great jackets that are well worth looking into if you want a really affordable jacket. My second choice is the High Estate Mountain Stretch waterproof running jacket. Now, this jacket comes from Sport Shoes. It's their own brand, and there's a really nice range of cheaper items that you can get from High Estate that are actually really good. running jackets I'm always a bit careful with, because when you tend to get the cheaper ones, you really kind of notice the difference between those and the better quality ones. But the waterproof light jacket is really nice, comfortable jacket to wear. It's not too heavy. What I find with a lot of cheaper jackets is they tend to be quite thick, especially if they have windproof and waterproof qualities. But this jacket, it feels like fabric. It doesn't feel like a really plasticky design. It's really good at just keeping the edge off, keeping you a bit warmer. There's a nice, generous fit to it. I wear a medium. The medium that I run in, it does have a lot of space inside, so you can use it to cover your base layers as well. There's also a really easy to modify adjustable hood, so you can strap that down quite securely when you need it to. It's a great jacket. It's really comfortable, and I use it generally for those runs where it's too cold for my New Balance jacket, and I really need something that's going to take the edge off the wind mainly. The cost of that is £49.99, which I think is really good value for what you get from that jacket. It really does deliver quite a lot of stuff that you'd expect from a more expensive jacket. My last pick is the High Estate All Over Reflex running jacket. Now, this is a jacket that is designed for visibility in the cold, as well as protection from the elements. So it has a much more shiny design, that slightly more plasticky feel to those jackets that are really designed to be more hard wearing when it comes to tougher weather conditions. But what I have found is that I'm not a massive fan of those sorts of jackets normally. I don't really care that much about the rain. I'd rather have a nicer, thinner, more fabricy feel than those plastic designs. But it does feel very comfortable, like the trail jacket. It's generous fit, so you can fit a lot more underneath it, and it's quite comfortable as a result. It doesn't stick to the arms, doesn't stick to the body. It's got a little bit more looseness to it, which makes it a lot more comfortable. What I also found of it is that it is very good at protecting against the rain. So when it is really rainy, I will use this jacket. But I would say the breathability isn't great, so I only use it when it is really cold and really wet. If I'm going out for a lighter run and I just want something to just keep me a little bit warmer, I won't wear this jacket because I'll get really hot and sweaty.
So my second running jacket pick is this. This is from Bamboo Clothing, and this is their 73 Zero running jacket. Now, a lot of their line, or all of their line, is kind of 100% recycled. That's a kind of big, kind of unique selling point there. This is made from recycled polyester. This is available in 3 different colours. This is kind of a leaf green look, which I kind of really like. And in terms of wearing this, I think it's one for, again, kind of light wind conditions. It's not really built for running in rain. There's not really any kind of waterproofing. I have run, went through a kind of downpour in it and it got absolutely soaked. But in terms of kind of light wind, it works pretty fine, kind of breezy conditions. It's nice and light in terms of a jacket. I kind of like the fact that these sleeves are kind of a little bit stretchy as well. They kind of don't, kind of wrap really tightly against your wrist, but actually, they feel quite nice and comfortable. You've got some kind of nice pockets here as well. There's zipped pockets, which I quite like. I definitely prefer the zip pockets. I quite like the way the collar is done, which kind of is designed to kind of protect you a bit better from the wind. You've got this kind of vent at the back to keep things kind of ventilated as well. And you've got an extra pocket in the back as well. I really like this jacket. It's also just a nice jacket, I think, generally to wear in between runs as well. But if you're looking for something that's kind of a bit more ethical, it is made from recycled materials. It's really nice to wear. I think something, if it's, ideally for kind of windy kind of conditions when you're running, not so good for rain. But yeah, this is a jacket I really liked running in. And yeah, just under £100 if you want to get hold of it.
So this is the Evadict trail jacket, which is another option from Decathlon. This is a fully waterproof kind of trail running jacket with taped seams. So you've got a waterproof rating of 10,000 schmerbers, but they've also tried to make it breathable. It's coming in at £70 or $90, which is obviously quite expensive for a Decathlon generally, but very cheap in theory for a fully waterproof jacket with taped seams that actually generally meets the mandatory requirements for those kind of long trail events where you have to pack waterproofs with a certain level of protection in your bag. The jacket is quite nice. I think it's got a nice fit to it. It's got a really good hood that fits quite well and doesn't kind of flap about in the wind in my experience. In terms of the breathability, now it's kind of in between. Like it's not very breathable. You've got that kind of membrane that will kind of stick to your skin a little bit on the run, but I did find I could go out and do runs in this quite comfortably. And when it was cold, it was kind of great. But even on runs actually kind of in the kind of high single digits here in the UK, when it was very windy, it did kind of work quite well. Like I was sweaty at the end. My long sleeve tee underneath was very sweaty when I took it off. But on the run, I didn't really feel it. I didn't feel like I was in like a bin bag or anything like that. So actually, I think this is a pretty good jacket. And if you're saving it for kind of colder days than that, and you're wearing a long sleeve top underneath, so you're not getting that kind of sticking to skin feeling, it's a pretty good waterproof that breathes kind of okay. It's kind of probably better than I expected actually at the price, because really good waterproof jackets can set you back well over kind of 150, 200 pounds. This is one that does the job pretty well for a lot less. The storage could definitely be improved on the jacket though. You kind of got those two side pockets, zip pockets that again are not positioned well. If you put stuff in that, it's going to bounce around when you're on the run. You can just only put lightweight things like gloves in there, I found. And it comes though with a little pouch, which is waterproof itself. You can pack the jacket into that, when it's wet, and then put it in your bag, and you're not going to get the water from the jacket all over the other kit in your bag. And it packs away very easily into that, and does kind of compress to quite a small size, I'd say. But next we have the Under Armour Outrun the Storm jacket. Now this is another one that comes in and out of kind of stock with the seasons, and the one I actually have is an older version of the jacket, a couple of years old, so you won't be able to get this delightful orange colour, and actually this one has better storage than the new version. We'll talk about that later, but it's always kind of available each year for kind of £85 in the UK, around $100 in the US. Now this is a really good jacket, I think, for those who want a bit more protection from rain in particular. It's not waterproof, but it is super water resistant. And in practice, I found that this means that it's kept me perfectly dry in quite heavy rain up to about an hour with no problem. So unless you're like, going to be heading out into the fells or something like that, and you need a, fully waterproof jacket with tape seams, that kind of thing, this will get it done. Like kind of your general daily training, city running, this is basically waterproof in effect, I found. And it's also kind of nicely windproof. It's nice and warm. I've gone down to kind of, just above zero with just kind of a base layer underneath. But it's also pretty breathable because it isn't fully waterproof. So actually, that's quite a good trade-off you're getting there, because on general runs, when it's kind of high single digits, that kind of thing, it's not too hot to wear this jacket. Now, it looks like the new versions, in terms of pockets, just have kind of two side pockets. Which aren't great. Again, if you put anything heavy in there, they're going to bounce around. But the older version does have a chest pocket, a Napoleon pocket, which you can put a phone in very comfortably. So maybe that's something that will come back to jacket in future editions. But yeah, it's the best kind of storage on a jacket, I find.
This is the Sundried Grande Casse. It's a super lightweight, ultra light, packable shell that is kind of water resistant, not waterproof. It's windproof. It adds a little bit of an extra layer of protection over your other base layers for runs where it's going to be maybe a little bit cold, a little bit windy, maybe a light shower, that kind of thing. Again, you wouldn't want to wear it when it's super cold or in a rainstorm. It's great for kind of spring days, autumn runs as well. Now, I'm not sure you can see inside this kind of material. It's 100% polyester. It's kind of almost translucent in places if you get close up, so you can see how thin it is. Now, one thing I will say about that, it can get a little bit sort of sweaty if your core temperature rises too much, so you have to pitch this at the right point. The one thing I do like though is you've got these elasticated cinched cuffs, and they are really easy to roll up and down. The other thing to say, I'm wearing a large in this. I think that's kind of what I would go for. I think medium might be a little bit too tight, and that gives you the option to flex. I'm wearing quite a big kind of thick hoodie underneath this, and there's still plenty of room to maneuver in this. On the side here, you've got one pocket that's big enough to take one of the larger smartphones on the side there. It can have a little bit of bounce, so I wouldn't tend to run with that, but it might be useful if you've got kind of one or two gels, or you've got a pair of gloves to slot in there as well. That's always handy. The other thing to say, it also packs away into its own bag. Again, brilliant for sort of stashing it and stowing it. Although actually this is thin enough that even if you're wearing a running belt, it's really easy to kind of loop it round and tie it off, and you don't notice that it's there. Now, if I had to pick faults, it might be that the zips feel a little bit lightweight and they're a bit glitchy. They're not quite as smooth as some other zips. I do worry about the durability of that over time. But when you can buy this right now for just £28, its RRP is 40, but it's available from Sundried for £28. There's a lot going for this jacket. It's a really, really good bargain if you're looking for a really lightweight race shell that you can use in kind of spring and autumn weather.
That's kind of our guide to the best kind of affordable running jackets we've tested ourselves. Please jump into the comments and give us a load more recommendations for cheap jackets so other people can see them and check them out themselves. But yeah, hopefully there's some ideas there if you are looking for a kind of cheaper layer for your running. Please like, subscribe, ring the little bell, and if you do want to spend £250 plus on a jacket, go check out our best running jackets video.